This is The Shift. Each week, we sit down with remarkable people to explore their stories and the moments that define them. I'm Luke Nestler, and today's guest is Ray Glymph, real estate investor, entrepreneur, and most importantly, father and husband.
Where do I sit at?
Right here.
Right here?
Right
Okay,
there, right
cool.
in the captain's seat.
All right, cool.
Captain's seat. Let me get this turned on.
Man, I made it, Mom.
Ray Glymph, dude, thank you for coming,
I
man.
made it, yeah. Let
me start my timer.
This is my water here, right?
That's your water, yeah. Dude, I'm excited to have you on. We've had all of our guests lined up, our first several, for a while, and Anthony from Sparks Media and I, when we were talking, I was like, dude, I got to get Ray on. Because the whole concept of what this show is people that have done great things. And yeah, we'll talk about like, hey, this is what I do. This is kind of what my business is. But the premise of this show is the hard shit that we've overcome as people that have done great things.
Sure.
And I've known you for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I know enough about your story to know like, all right, Ray's got some crazy stories, and what you've built is crazy. So, dude, I'm excited to have you.
I appreciate it,
hanging out, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm excited to be here.
I got a lot of respect for you, man. You were, when I started to make that transition of when I finally woke up to, hey, I need to leave my former business and I want to start doing real estate. That was 6 years ago. You reached out to me.
Has it been 6 years? Man? Wow.
Yeah, you were like that. Well, I realized 6 years ago, so it's probably been about 5.
Mm-hmm.
You reached out to me and were like, hey, man, because I knew you was the guy that owned nightclubs.
Mm-hmm.
That was like back in the day. I was like, Ray owned. Which ones did you own?
It was Fourth and Gold, Liquid Lounge.
Liquid Lounge, yeah. So I knew you as the nightclub guy, and a mutual friend of ours, Braun, and that's how we met. And you reached out. You're like, hey, man, I own a little bit of real estate. So we had coffee at
Blue Moose Cafe. Yep.
Yeah.
It was at one of those places downtown. Yeah.
Yep. And man, you were just super generous and been like, look, dude, anything I can do to help you. You gave me some advice. At the time, I was like, how many doors do you own? Like, very rookie question, but like being enamored by it all. I was like, how many doors do you own? And I think at the time you told me 40.
Maybe, yeah.
How many do you own now?
Over 140. I don't even count doors anymore.
I love it, dude.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I love it. So, dude, you've always been a gracious and generous person. You still are. You're a very humble person, and you're always trying to help, and you help a lot of people get started, and I got a ton of respect for you. So, all right. So the concept of this show, it's called The Shift, obviously. And when I wanted to create this show, I wanted it to be about the moments that make us. It's kind of how I explain it to people. And what that means is anybody that has built something great has overcome several hard things.
Oh, yeah.
And, mine was with, the infertility battle that woke me up to, I wasn't the person I wanted to be. And when I really took a deep look at it, it was the business that I had built. It was nobody else's fault, but I absolutely hated this business that I built. And I needed to get out. So what most people would do, average people would just stay in their unhappy situation and complain about it the rest of their life. That unfortunate thing that my wife and I went through is what made me shift my entire life, make a change, and is what helped me find real estate. So I want to tell other people's stories.
Sure.
You didn't have anything handed to you. That's for damn sure.
Nothing, no.
So you've got an awesome story. For those that maybe are new, not local to where we are located, that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and we'll dive into it.
Yeah, so I'm from Brooklyn, New York originally. My first time in West Virginia was just coming to party just like any other kid. I don't come from much. No silver spoon. We worked hard. My family worked hard. Sometimes we just didn't make it. We were homeless. Twice in my life I was homeless. Not to drug addiction or anything like that. We just couldn't make ends meet. We couldn't get ahead. And seeing that and to get to where I am now, I'm very fortunate. Like you mentioned, the shift, there was some mindset stuff that's very important, I think. But determination is the biggest word I could think of. It was like, I have to keep going, right? There's no quit left in me. You have to fight for everything you want. I think that's the most important thing for everybody listening to know.
So you're pretty open about your story. So when you were homeless, this was when you were in Brooklyn?
Yeah, so I was in Brooklyn. We had in New York City, we had a heat wave. I'll never forget it. It was like it's yesterday, I swear. But we had a heat wave where all the power pretty much in the whole city was out. So imagine that big of a city with no power. We were in a homeless shelter at that time.
How old were you?
Oh man, I was probably about 11 or 12.
Wow.
Right. So I can, it's fresh enough that I remember it. And I was at the age I remember it. And I remember it was during the summertime. So I wasn't in school, but I remember having to go, you know, when they took you, it was pretty much you were like in a holding detention center during the day, which was about 400 people, no air conditioner. And then they would take you to a place you stay at night. And I still remember, man, there were like the places we stayed, there were like rats and roaches. And my family, we come from a clean family. And I mean, I'm like, man, how could people live like this? But for them, that was all they had. And for me, I was like, I can't, if I ever make money, I don't want to live like this, man. I can't do that. So, but it's the real life. It's real life. It's what people are going through even now, might be watching this. So hopefully we can inspire people.
So you were homeless twice.
Mm-hmm.
Was it all around that same time? Like you were, you know, around 11 or?
No. So the next time I was homeless when I actually came here. So I was doing pretty good before I left New York, and but I wasn't really progressing. I was working kind of dead-end jobs, worked at Starbucks, learned a lot from there, worked at Dunkin' Donuts, I worked at McDonald's. Like I come from the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know, working those places, I learned quite a lot, but there was no getting to the next level. I couldn't, you know, grow. And my cousin, he told me he was going to school to be an engineer here. He lived at Westfront Apartments, so, you know, college rental apartments.
Okay.
And he was like, man, like you can come up here. You can stay with me. You can sleep on the couch, you know, but if somebody else staying here, whoever gets home first, either you get the couch or you sleep on the floor. Fight for it. He's like, if you want to be successful, how bad do you want it? And I still remember that to this day too. We call it the magic couch. If you got to sleep on the couch, you were fortunate that night. Yeah.
So when you were younger, when you were in Brooklyn, like what was that at least one of the pivotal like shifting moments of your life to where you're like, that still is what drives you today? Like what I just can't relate, but I have so much respect for you going through that. So like, tell me what impact that had on your life.
Yeah, I mean, that's the bottom for me. Like, you know, they say people been through hell. That was my hell, right? Like I seen the things that I seen as a kid, as a youth. It was just enough for me. And my parents, and there's no knock to them, they did the best that they could. They tried with what they had. And like going through it, I understood like I could never go back to that situation. I want to put my kids through that situation. And that is the motivation. That was one of the shifts, but it is also the motivation of I can't quit. Yeah. Because quitting for some people might just be quitting a job. For me, if I quit, a lot of other people lose, right? And I owe it to myself, I owe it to the people before me not to quit.
Yeah. So at what point in your life did you realize like, hey man, I'm gonna work for myself. I'm gonna be my own boss?
Yeah, I'll keep it real with y'all. Honestly, it was I was out one night, I'll never forget it, and I was going to school, and you know,
this is in Morgantown?
This is in West Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to school. You get your little tuition check, your reimbursement check, and at that time it was like $4 or $5 grand. Now, mind you, I come from no money. I never had $4 or $5 grand hit my bank account. And I'm like, man, I got $4 or $5 grand. I could really do something, right? And I was downtown late night, and I noticed there were no food trucks. I'm like, man, I could do something if I get a couple dollars together. And shout out to my ex, she was down with me, and we went together. We started this food truck, man, and we actually did really well. And at that point, I was, you know, and granted, this was years ago, but I was doing good night. We were doing $1,000 a night. You know, we would work for a couple hours and make $1,000, and I was like, wow, like, is this what life is supposed to be like? Not as much trading my time for work, but, you know, doing something that I have that's a passion. And I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit. When I snuck out the house when I was a little kid, I was probably like 7, 8. And we lived in the projects, big building, and downstairs there was a basketball playground. And I remember I took some tap water, I filled the bottle up, and I took tap water, made a little sign, said water, 25 cents, and I sold it outside to basketball players. I made a couple dollars. And awesome. At that point, it was like, all right, this is pretty cool. So I've always had it in me. Yeah. I just didn't know how to manifest it correctly.
It's incredible. So you got into the nightclub restaurant space. Was it from the taking your tuition check and starting the food truck? Like how did we make that transition?
So it started with the food truck. Then I had the opportunity to get into the bar business. I had been in the bar business before. I'm not actually in the owner role, but more of the managerial, actual bartender. So if you look back at my Instagram and social media, I'm bartending. You see me flipping bottles and everything. and they came my opportunity to buy a bar downtown. And so I bought the bar, did some seller finance, creative finance. That's when that kind of
You've been doing that. You've been doing that since before there was internet gurus that teach that shit.
I didn't know what it was either, but it made
years.
sense, you know?
Yeah.
And so I got into the bar business. At that time, we got into, you know, I think she had a daycare, so I helped her. We opened a daycare, and then we opened a couple other businesses, spread to other businesses. And then at that point, it was like, all right, well, you know, we're staying busy. We're starting to make a little money from here, a little money from here. And then the nightclub scene hit, and it was just like, man, like off to the races.
Yeah. What did you learn from that space? Because I mean, you're not in the nightclub space at all now, are you?
No, not in a nightclub space. No.
You still have your restaurant and a restaurant bar, but what was that like? Because are you that type of crowd where you're like, man, I love the like, you know, I just grew up loving the nightlife scene. Like I used to go out and party. I mean, maybe you did. I think everybody goes through it, but were you drawn to that because you partook in it, or were you just like, yo, there's a business to be had here?
There was a business, there was a financial aspect of it. I'm not really a very like outward social person, but there was a financial aspect behind it. And at that point I was a hustler. I'm like, man, I got to get it. Yeah. And so I knew what people liked when they went out, right? Because for years before that, as a bartender, I saw that, hey, I'm on the other side of the bar while you guys are having a good time. So for me, it just came naturally like, okay, well, we can make this, and this is what's missing. Coming from the big city, coming here, like this is missing here, this type of environment, this type of vibe. Yeah.
That's wild. Again, I've known you for years, but just hearing your story and kind of how it unfolds is interesting. So you bought the business. Mm-hmm. You didn't own the real estate, though, right?
Own it, no.
Okay. So when did you? Let's back up for perspective. How old are you now?
36.
All right. Yeah. So I think when a lot of people think of you, they think, I mean, you still look very young, but you've accomplished so much in a short amount of time. We're the same age. Mm-hmm. When's your birthday?
August.
All right,
August
mine's
8th.
in March.
Okay.
So I'm even a tad bit older than you.
Got you.
Yeah, that's right. So like you've and maybe people feel the same way about me. I don't know, but like I always thought you were significantly older than me.
Yeah.
Because when I was, and that's a compliment, when I was starting to explore real estate, Ray had already built this thing that, you know, got to be an old man to build. You've done this at a young age. What was the transition from nightclub ownership to like, how did you even get introduced to real estate?
Yeah,
how did that come about?
I think that's one of the most important shifts in my life. Was I had been in the restaurant bar industry, and I never knew anybody that retired from the restaurant bar industry. So the same people who were in that industry before when I was working, they're still in that same industry. They're still hustling, they're still working, they're still out every night. And at that time, I started to lose friendships. I started to lose relationships. Like it was just hard to, no woman wants to come home and
right.
then her man's not there, you know, at late at night at 2 or 3. And at that point, it just became more of a stress to work in that lifestyle. And then the retirement section of like, I want to be done, you know. When I'm done, I just want to be done. And, you know, working at 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes you're having a party, you don't want a party, but you got to, you know, show face. That just became a stress. So I was like, you know, I got to get out of this. And I always tell the story. It was with a group of guys, it was 8 guys. We went to a bar just to hang out, have a drink, and they were all smarter than me, right? Real estate, you don't need to be a rocket scientist.
Right.
But I was around with some guys who were college educated, had degrees, and they started throwing out terms, refinance, renovate. You know, we can start with $5,000 each, and you know, we can grow it to $2 million. I'm like, I don't think I can grow $2 million with what I'm doing, so I'm in.
Yeah.
And none of the guys did it, but kudos to them. They actually introduced me to something, and that is what, you know, sparked that fire behind me.
Yeah. So what was the first opportunity that they opened your eyes to it? Then were you on the hunt after that?
Yeah. So I had started diving in and, you know, started listening to the podcast before, but there was no education space. Like there was no podcast like to this scale before. So it was Bigger Pockets had just came out or something. But I found a deal on Craigslist. Sketchy guy. He was a wholesaler at the time. Sketchy guy, didn't know him. And he had a property for sale, $25,000. I'll never forget this. 25 G's. I wrote a check. I didn't even have the money like that. I wrote a check for the 25, had 25 liquid, but the refinance or the renovation budget, I was actually going to do with a credit card.
Okay.
Right? So I bought it, gave him the check. I thought he was going to run away with my money. Sure enough, everything worked out.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting a house for $25,000. It was
Wow.
in Pittsburgh, and we know how hot Pittsburgh market is
Yeah.
now. 25,000. I put 25 into it, $50,000 all in, and I started paying $1,000 a month. And that tenant gave me that check. It was a mind shift again, because it was like, man, I didn't have to cook anything,
Right.
didn't have to clean anything, no messy bathrooms. And then she gave me another 1,000 and another 1,000, and that's when it kind of opened up. So I might have something here.
So you started from day one in real estate. You started as the owner and operator. It wasn't having a property manager run it. You ran it from. So for perspective, people that don't know, we're about an hour and a half south of Pittsburgh. So you were managing it from Morgantown in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Yeah, it's so my first two houses I bought were in Dayton, Ohio, and I got introduced to real estate or educated on real estate through a group that taught turnkey investing. So for people that don't know what that is, you don't do any of the work. You essentially own the property, but then the property manager manages it. And that was my eye-opening moment of like, oh man, $2,000 just showed up in my account and I didn't do anything for it, but it didn't like scratch that itch, because I've still never seen, I still own those houses. I've never seen them ever. When I bought them, nothing. I wanted to be hands-on. So from then on, everything I bought, I owned. With you, I know this from the first time you and I had met and talked, your portfolio got started in Pittsburgh. So from that first property, how long until it really started to snowball and you started buying more and more?
Yeah, so after I figured out I got the 3 months of payment, by the way, after the 3 months, that lady never paid again. So just gonna keep it real with y'all. Yeah, she never paid awesome. Again. So I learned some hardships, but after that, I bought another one, and I bought another one. It was in Pittsburgh, same area. Did really well with it and paid well. And then the opportunity to buy the building that my first bar was in came about,
okay. Right?
And I knew, for me, I knew like if I got this building, it would cash flow enough that I could technically, I could retire at that point. Right. From what I'm doing. The bar business is insignificant. Everything's insignificant because this building should take care of me, my family for generations to come. And that's how I got into that big of a scale, because that was an 8-unit building. Yeah. And then from there it became opportunity after opportunity, started putting out there that I'm in real estate. And once you start putting it out there, people start sending you stuff, and it just it snowballed. Yeah. Right. And before you know it, you look up and you're like, holy smokes, like I've amassed this, and you don't even think about it because your head's down and you're just going at full speed. Yeah. Do you still get excited over just the thrill of the hunt and like just the nature of the game of like finding a piece of property, negotiating it, forcing the value? Is that, because for me, like that's what I enjoy, to where like we've both amassed enough to where if we wanted to or had to, we could stop. But I don't think either one of us are wired that way. For me, that's what still excites me. Is it the same for you, or is it something else? I think that is a crucial point, as long as it doesn't go against what's aligned with me mentally, right? If it's going to add more stress to something that I really don't want to be stressed about, I kind of kick it off the plate, right? Because more than financial, there is the mental side of it too, right? And you see, if I ever what is freedom, it's more about, is this going to take away from my freedom? Right? Yeah. I think, man, it's such a perfect segue. The reason I left my first business, which was in the marketing space, I built a business that did 7+ figures a year. I was making good money. We employed a bunch of people. There was aspects of it to where I didn't get along with people in the business. That was part of it. What woke me up to why I was so miserable was the infertility journey, but it was because it was the time that I needed to be present the most for my wife, because of what we were going through, but she was the one going through it. I didn't have the freedom from this business that I built that was supposed to give me that. And that's why I was like, I've got to make a shift. That's why I shifted into real estate. And there have been multiple times to where I've purposely checked myself to make sure that I wasn't, because I built that monster. I built the problem. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to build it again. What have you done? Because you've got more doors than I do. I'm pushing 100. You're well over 100 now. I've had to install aspects of that allow me to buy back my time so that I can do things like this, and my business still runs itself. So project manager, property manager, assistant, stuff like that. What things do you have in place to make sure that Ray has that freedom? Because what I admire about you the most, honestly, more than anything you've done in business is, dude, you're
one, you're an awesome person. You care about other people. You're an awesome dad and a really good husband. Like, I didn't even, I just noticed your hat. It's his best dad ever.
Yeah.
Like, that's what's important to you. So what have you done in your business to make sure you have that freedom to be that type of a person for your family?
That's a great question. I think I operate on, I call them the 4 pillars. It's the 4 F's, right? So it's family, right? Family is very important to me. Faith, right? So it doesn't have to be just God, but whatever you believe in, faith, freedom, and finances, right? And I think I put them all in that order too, okay? So if one compromises another one, is it really gonna be worth it? And that's before I make any decision, I think about those. Like, does this get in the way of my family time? Does this get away of my freedom? Sometimes there's going to be a sacrifice, right? I don't want to sugarcoat it for anybody listening, especially when you first starting. There is a big significant sacrifice of, I have to grow this. You wouldn't be in the same position if you didn't go through what you went through, right? You made that shift, you made that transaction or that transition. There has to be some type of, you have to lose yourself a little bit and then you build that. So you have to sacrifice. So the sacrifice, I think, is going to be the most important to build the lifestyle that you want. But when I do stuff now, especially in real estate, I factor in, how much energy is this going to cost me, right? Because it's not about finances. It's the energy. When you go to work, even if you trade your time for money, it's the finances. It's not the finances. It's the freedom. It's the time. How much time is this really going to cost me? Is it worth my time? I think a lot of people don't ask that question. Like, is this going to be worth my time? And so for me, I think that's the biggest thing that helped me grow as a good person. Like, honestly, at the end of the day, when I'm gone, nobody's gonna remember that Ray owned this or something like that. But my kids will remember, right? My significant other, if she's still here, she'll remember. People will remember that. And that's what I want people to know. I want to be known for being a good dad more than anything. Yeah.
Man, you stopped me on that one. I think
it's tough.
Yeah, it is. And I'll be honest, like, just being super vulnerable with you. I had this, Jacob Godfrey was on, and we talked about this because he's very young, and he is similar to me in the fact that he runs hot all the time. Like, I'm very intense. You're the exact opposite. We're in the same space. You're very calm, very relaxed. I'm sure things get your blood boiling, but like, you're super, like, I run hot all the time. And I was having this conversation with him about being a dad, and like, I struggled with this for a long time, and like, eventually I was like, hey, this is just how I am. I want my purpose is to be a great dad and provide for my family. What I've come to be okay with is my passion is not my son. And what I mean by that is, I'm not that dad that goes home and just sits there. Like, how I get involved with my son is I bring him with me. Like, he loves the van. So like, I'll bring him here and we'll work on stuff, or like, I'll take him out on a job site, stuff like that. And I've really tried to double down on making sure that I make time to be present in that capacity, as opposed to being that dad that's just going to sit on the floor and play. Like, I'm going to get him involved in my life. And that's not the right thing for everybody, but that's just how I operate. What are some of the things that you do to, one, teach your children lessons that you want to teach them, but also like, be that present dad? Are you that dad that goes home and like can sit on the floor and play? I just don't have that.
So I'll tell you, I used to not be like that. And I just lost my dad a couple months ago. And so when I look back, no, it's all right, because I'm still dealing with it. But as I look back at it, understand that time is, and if you're not part of the dead, they call it the Dead Dads Club. It's a grieving period. Okay. If you're not part of it, it's kind of hard to understand. But once you lose that person you look up to, the person you can say, I'm proud of, you can share those moments with. Once you lose that person, you start to realize how temporary and meaningless life can be, right? Can a conversation wait, right? Because I used to come home, I'm in my office. I'm going right to my office. Hey, son, I'll play with you a little bit. Like, you can come play with me. You can come do this work with me, sit in my office. I used to be laser focused, locked in to that extent. I still am, but now I want to be more present, right? Because again, none of this matters unless you have a reason to create it. There has to be a legacy to continue on. And that's what I'm focused on building. I want to build that legacy. So I come home, I play with my kids. We'll play on the floor sometimes. Do I love it? Absolutely not. Sometimes am I checked out? 100%. I'll keep it real.
Yeah.
But I want them I want them to be able to smile. I want them to be able to see, because when I think about it, when I thought about it, there are certain memories that I have with my dad that, and we shared this before he passed, which is pretty cool, man. But there are certain things I remember that he doesn't remember, but there's things he remembers that I don't remember, right? But those were important points in our life, right? And the things that he thought, like, oh man, he's gonna remember me taking him to Disney World, and reality, the thing I missed about my dad, we would go to movies, bro. That was it. I didn't need the world. I just wanted simplicity. So I think sometimes we get caught up in doing the most, and it's great to do the most. It's great to do all the stuff. Like I took my kids, we take random trips in the middle of the week, bro. But the thing is,
I see that a lot. That's why when I say I love watching how you are as a dad, I see the random trips to Peppa Pig Land, and all these things, you know.
And that's part of life, and I'm happy for it. But for them, for kids, they just want the little things. So if you can give them little things, if you can give them 15 minutes of attention, 20 minutes, it's hard sometimes. Though.
Yeah, it is.
I get it.
I struggle with it. I mean, like, I think how I said that makes it sound like I just don't have anything to do with my family when I go out. And that's not it. It doesn't come naturally to me. Do I sit on the floor and play with them? Yes, but I think it's important to. I mean, I'm weak in that area. But one of the things that I do is I try to create moments and spaces for us to just have time for us. So I love hockey. I take them to hockey games and baseball and stuff like that. I love business so much that I could get carried away and just do business, and then the family would very easily come second. Yeah. Not that I want that to be the case, but if I'm not careful, that'll happen. Are you wired a similar way to where, like, if you don't check yourself, freedom very easily will go away and you'll just be in the business all the time?
Yeah, I get like that sometimes, but then it hits you again of like the reality where your kids won't be kids forever, man. Yeah. And so, like, I got 2 kids now, so I get to relive it somewhat. Yeah. But those moments, those early moments, my kid used to love Paw Patrol, for example. Yeah. He'd care less about the toys, right? Got him all the Paw Patrol, he'd care less about them, right? But for me, those are memories for me. Like, this isn't the same kid. I look back at pictures, you see Facebook memories pop, and you're like, man, that's the same kid. Yeah. He don't even look the same. Yeah. And to you, you're with him every day. So it hits hard. And as I'm watching them grow, business goes on, right? I can still do great deals. I can still make money. I'm still going at it, but I want to make sure that I'm more intentional. My mentor, Thatch, he has this word, it's mindset, and then it's alignment. It has to be fully aligned with what you're doing. Yeah. If it's not aligned with you, it's questionable. Yeah.
How do you prevent the bad shit that happens in our world as real estate investors and landlords, stuff, especially this time of year, the amount of water lines that broke over the last 2 weeks? Yeah. I'm out on a Saturday trying to have, father-son time, and I get a call from my property manager that a water line's broke and shit's flooding. How do you deal with those moments and not let it wreck you're out with your wife and your family?
So, same thing. I'm at Peppa Pig Land, the tenant texts me, hey, the roof's leaking. It's frozen. You had a big freeze, so, water froze up. Not sure what happened, but it's just another day, right? And so the bigger point is like, hey, look, we'll solve it. We'll fix it. But right now, life goes on. We got to continue. You have to continue your business. I have to continue my work. Life goes on. We'll get it fixed, right? Yeah. It's just another day. Nobody's going to die, right? And that's a big, we on a floating ball in the middle of a universe. Like they're a bigger thing. So just exist and be there, man. And sometimes I get disconnected. It happens. And my significant other, she'll stop me and say, hey, is everything okay? And sometimes she'll get busy working. I'll have to pull her away like, hey, like, let's just make sure. But just making sure that you are fully intentional at those precious times too. Yeah.
So we talked a lot about being a dad. Yeah. I like that we're going here. As long as you're cool with this, because it's so different on every episode with different people. The areas that they'll dive deep into, and I like talking to people my age that are also husbands and fathers. So your relationship with your spouse. My wife knew me after I was already an entrepreneur. Quote unquote successful, so there was no like, well, I hope this idea he has makes it. She met me when I already had a business that was doing well. She has zero entrepreneurial spirit in her. She never questions the risks that I take. She just trusts me fully through. She also does, I mean, she has interest in what I do, but I could close a massive deal, come home, doesn't really mean anything to her. And I like that because it keeps me grounded. Now, your fiance, she has some entrepreneurial tendencies. Okay, so what is that dynamic like, and how do you guys make time to make sure that you're still dating, even though you've been together for a while? That spark doesn't go away.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, for one, she didn't have the entrepreneurial spirit when I met her.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I don't think any girl I've ever been with had entrepreneurial spirit until we started getting grounded. But she didn't really have that. But we had a business. One of my businesses when I first opened it wasn't doing too well, and she jumped in and was like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna help you." Right. When I got my first investment property, that first house in Pittsburgh, she was actually there like, "Hey, look, I'll help you. We're gonna make this thing. Let's do it."
So she's been there since the whole come up of the real estate.
Yeah. So when I had money before real estate, but now I have some money now, and it's like real money, she's rolled through the whole thing. So she sees the experience. She's managing her own business, etc. So she gets pretty busy. I get pretty busy, but we got to be intentional. I can do better, right? Yeah. And she says she could do better, but at the end of the day, the biggest thing is you have younger kids, right? And I always go back to the kids, like, we want to continue dating, but we got priorities too. So we make time. Sometimes we'll go to basketball games. Sometimes we'll go to dinner and stuff like that. Yeah. But you just have to be intentional about that stuff too. Yeah. But we're kind of spur of the moment. Hey, let's just go do something. Yeah. So then that's how we've always been, just spontaneous. My whole life has been spontaneous. Hey, we're going to go somewhere. We worked in the bar business. So Monday, Tuesday were our days off. So when everybody's like, "Oh man, Ray's always going someplace." No, I'm just not doing anything on the weekend.
Yeah. I'm locked down. These are my days. Yeah. So, all right. So you've done some incredible stuff, but recently you've got some exciting stuff going on to where you've always been big on, at least from what I can tell, on really making sure that you are not just trying to get rich, but trying to, and not just try to take care of your family, but help better the community. So something that you're passionate about is affordable housing, and I'm sure that goes back to your childhood and being homeless and the impact that had on you. Is that fair to say? Is that where it comes from? So you've got some exciting stuff going on now. Anthony and I were talking to you beforehand. We saw, a picture to where there's something awarded to you, and you've got some big plans. Yeah. I genuinely don't know much more than that. Okay. So I just know that there's something big happening. So what's going on?
I'll key you in. I was actually watching. It might have been on like TikTok or YouTube Shorts, I swear. And I saw this big real estate guy. His name's Ben Mahala. You ever see Ben Mahala?
Dude,
okay, I like Ben.
Ben Mahala, dude. I love me some Ben Mahala.
I like Ben. And I saw him, and he was doing a deal with some other guy. And as they were leaving the closing table, he said something. He said, "You know who really makes the money in real estate?" He said, "Not us developers. It's these guys getting this grant money." He said, "Those are the ones that are crushing it." And I looked at him, I'm like, man. So his guy has, I think, like 900 million in real estate, so 90 million, whatever it is. Yeah. And I'm like, he thinks the grant guys are making more than him? So I got to learn this game. I got to get into this. And started digging into it. And my first grant actually that I got was for a facade upgrade with the city. So they matched, I think it was $25,000 to upgrade the front of your building and some other material things on your building. And they matched the other $25,000. I was like, Right.
Was this the building in Westover?
No, this is my downtown building in Morgantown. Okay. And so we redid the facade, put brick facing, did some other stuff in the building, and the city matched it. And I was like, wow, there's money out here for that type of stuff. Got to figure out what else is needed, right? Because at the end of the day, you're either working for the government or you're working with them. Don't care how you put it. You're either gonna pay them or you're gonna work with them. So then there came opportunity. A friend of mine reached out at a networking group I was at, and she's like, "Ray, you're into low-income housing. There's this opportunity where they are, giving out funds to develop and build and sustain low-income housing." And I was like, "Yeah, that's kind of my specialty in the area. There's a couple other guys, that do low-income housing here, but I mean, I enjoy that space, especially where I came from, and my position was always to give back." And she was like, "Yeah, you should apply for it." So I applied last year, and I didn't score enough points. I didn't get the application. It didn't go through. Right. It's pretty disappointing because I was going to do a new build, 10 unit building, et cetera. It didn't go through. And this time this year, we reassessed the project. And all I know is I got an email. She said, "Where's my check, Ray? You owe me some money." And I was like, "No way." And our grant got approved. So it's to it's to help facilitate housing for people with disabilities, veterans, low income individuals, So it's a great project that we're going to be working on to help in the state and the county.
So it's going to be in Montague County?
Yes.
And will it be multifamily?
Multifamily, yeah.
Okay.
Multifamily, yeah.
Man, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. I just want to make this clear. There are strings attached. I am working with the federal government. So every dollar is signed, sealed, and delivered and appropriated as it should be. So that's the tough part about it.
I think it's the fact that you're taking the steps that, I'm sure other people have in this area, but not many took the steps to figure out, one, how can you do something that's going to be lucrative for you, but it's going to really give back and make a difference in the community. I was excited when I saw that post, and I think we were already scheduled. I was like, I got to make sure I ask him about that. So, what as we kind of wrap up, what overcoming hardship in your life, is that, in your opinion, what shaped you and formed you into who you are today? And if so, how so did it do that?
I think you have to overcome hardship. Everybody goes through stuff, right? Yeah. And how you respond shapes who you're going to be in the future. There are tons of hardships. I shared some here, and I could have easily quit at most of those. Most people would have been like, whatever, throw the hands up and let it go. And I think seeing the bottom and seeing failure true. I think all entrepreneurs have seen some type of failure.
Yeah.
Right? It might not be financial failure. It might just be that relationship failure, that time failure. You've seen that failure to then figure out, hey, am I going to keep doing this, or am I going to push it to another level? And I think that's what has defined me, as a continuation to push it to another level of, okay, where can I be better? How can I be better? And it's not always finances. It's not always family. Sometimes I just want to be a better person. It could be fitness. My sister last year, she challenged me to run a half marathon with her. I hate running, man.
Yeah.
I hate running, but I in my head, I'm like, man, my sister may never ask me again. I may never get the chance to do this. How can I push myself? So sometimes we get real comfortable in life, and I don't want anybody to get comfortable. I don't like to be around people who are comfortable either. I want to continue pushing and be around people who push you. So
I like to ask certain people this. One thing I've realized about myself for the last 4 or 5 years is I do well in times of chaos, chaotic things that are happening. I somehow stay composed, and I do well. And not only that, when things are going well, or like a vacation as an example, there's not enough chaos going on. I start to seek it out. And chaos doesn't have to be bad things, but it's like, my example recently is we were on a vacation, and day 3, I get bored. I drive around, I find a house and structure a deal, put an offer in on it on like the weekend I'm supposed to have down. Like, I always have to be in times of chaos.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you? Do you seek that out, or are you the exact opposite?
I used to, man. I really used to. And then my partner, Seth, he told me this quote, because it was one day I was just sitting there, and he was like, it was coming towards, I remember last year. This is when it really started to like settle down. It's about last year, 2 years ago. We were at the end of the year, December. We had deals lined up, but we're waiting for stuff to close. I'm like, man, we got to do something. Like, we got money coming in, mind you. It's not we're not illiquid or anything. We got money coming in, and I'm like, man, we got to keep getting to it. Like, hustle. And I'm just like, and he hit me. He said, Ray, hurry up and wait. And that's what we end up doing, is like, we hurry up. We in a rush to go sometimes, just to end up waiting some more, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get these lows as entrepreneurs, which is great. I think that's the entrepreneur in you. You get a lull of like downtime where you feel like you need to be active all the time. And I think that's when we get caught up in not living in the moment. Yeah. Right. And we lose that time.
Yeah.
Because you're always like, oh man, I got to get something done. And I get it. And there's a point where you just got to relax. Mm-hmm. There comes a point where you just got to enjoy what you built. And it's hard to do it because we're not accustomed to it, I feel like.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's okay. But to some extent, you got to just make sure you're there and make sure you enjoy your time, man. It's very difficult. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I appreciate you. I have a ton of respect for you. What you build is insane. And again, the most impressive thing is you are so humble. For what you've built, it'd be very easy to have an ego. You don't have an ego at all. You're just genuinely a really good person. And you're an awesome dad and awesome husband. I appreciate you.
I appreciate that.
Thanks for coming on, dude.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Absolutely.
I made it, mama.
You made it. You're in the van talking about your success. My goodness. One of these days, we're going to do a trip in the van. We'll go to whatever, some type of sporting event in Pittsburgh. I got this thing because it helped me buy back my time, and I needed a tax write-off. I didn't want to buy another truck. And that's what I was going to do. I was going to get a Cybertruck and wrap it. And a friend of mine does what we do out in Las Vegas, and he has one of these.
It's pretty genius. Yeah.
He talks about how he'll have his guy drive him, and he's going to job sites, and he's working in the back. So that was why I got it. Then I was like, I'm going to wrap it, and it's going to be a fraction of the cost of what a billboard would be.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
And then I was like, okay. I mean, I raise private money for a lot of what we do, so I was like, I like Penguins hockey, so we'll start taking our investors up to hockey games. And
somebody they say, "Is this a good advertisement?" They were like, "Yeah, that Luke guy, man, he the real deal." I said, "Yeah, he the real deal, man. He the real deal."
I'm not everybody's cup of tea, man, but I try to be. I'm definitely not a con artist, that's for sure.
You're not supposed to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's what makes you you.
Yeah,
remember that.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Thanks, man.
No doubt. Yeah.
Ray, you're the man.
Gotcha. Ugh.
That was awesome, dude.